Everyone wants to feel like they're the best at something, but when that belief turns into taking others for granted, the universe might just teach you a lesson. Understanding that there's always someone better out there is the key to humility. That's what truly makes the strongest person. My name is Mia. I've been married to my husband Thomas for 2 years. When we decided to get married, Thomas mentioned his troublesome sister who might end up being a burden to me. As an only child, I was thrilled at the idea of having a sister, but Thomas's words also made me anxious and curious about what kind of trouble she could be. Now, 2 years into our marriage, I fully understand and have experienced what Thomas meant. I was born into a relatively wealthy family. My father runs a mid-sized trading company and is well-informed and progressive in his thinking. My parents always respected my decisions, providing an environment where I could freely experience and explore my interests. In 2008, during the Lehman Brothers collapse, I was an 11-year-old elementary school student. Intrigued by the significant impact this event had on the world, I became fascinated by how a disruption in the flow of funds could cause such a global panic. This sparked my interest in financial circulation. Recognizing my curiosity and intelligence, my parents had me take an IQ test, and the results were beyond the normal range. Throughout middle and high school, I continued to research finance. In college, I chose a major that allowed me to deepen my understanding. As I learned more, I became eager to apply my knowledge and decided to try day trading. My professor suggested it as a way to experience capital flow firsthand, but warned about careful management to avoid debt. I researched extensively, identifying statistically favorable stocks for day trading. Starting with a modest sum of all the allowance I had saved up, I engaged in buying and selling the same stock within the same day, or starting with the sale and then buying it back before the day ended. This meant results came quickly. My predictions were spot on, and though the increases were modest, my funds grew steadily through this process and gradually increasing my investments. I managed to grow the initial amount by more than 50 times in a year. While the original sum was modest, I wasn't certain how impressive this achievement was on a larger scale. However, that wasn't my primary concern. What mattered most to me was whether the answers I had derived through research were correct. During the university seminar, I met Thomas, a student known for his analytical skills. We often found ourselves in agreement on many topics, which fostered a close bond between us. Following graduation, I had planned to join my father's company, but Thomas pointed out an opportunity at a foreign investment firm on our graduation day. At the subsequent celebration, Thomas confessed his feelings for me, and I immediately accepted. His intelligence was comforting, and his understanding nature put me at ease. As we embarked on our respective career paths, our relationship strengthened. Inspired by the concept of trade at my father's company, I researched foreign companies to gain negotiation advantages and establish a solid foundation for our deals. Meanwhile, Thomas used his analytical prowess to identify profitable investment opportunities, earning high praise within his firm. Despite our busy schedules, we prioritized dates, refreshing each other before diving back into work. Over 5 years, our careers blossomed and our relationship deepened. We became each other's support system, indispensable in our lives. It felt like the perfect time to take the next step forward. I want to spend the rest of my life with you, Mia. Will you marry me? Thomas's proposal was met with an immediate and wholehearted acceptance from me. I couldn't wait to begin our life together. During the family meeting, Thomas hesitated before sharing something important. There's something about my sister Alice that you should know. He started cautiously. She's a bit difficult and might cause you some discomfort or inconvenience. Alice, Thomas's younger sister by 2 years, was known to be challenging. From a young age, she had been exceptionally bright, even more so than Thomas, who himself was considered a prodigy. This dynamic made them a notably remarkable pair in their neighborhood. As Alice grew older, her intelligence sometimes translated into a sense of superiority, viewing others as foolish, and often looking down even on Thomas. This competitive spirit led her to enroll in a different but equally prestigious university, always boasting that hers was superior to Thomas's choice. In her career, she joined a rival investment and consulting firm, claiming mastery in investment strategies. However, Alice's attitude of superiority left her without close friends and seemingly without a significant other, harboring insecurities behind a brave facade. She believed no man was good enough for her, always striving to prove herself stronger than anyone else. Thomas worried that our engagement might bruise Alice's pride further, knowing her constant need to compete with him. He feared how she might react and was concerned about her attempt to assert dominance. I tried to reassure Thomas with a light-hearted "it's okay," but his worries seemed unending, leaving me even more curious about his intense sister. I finally met the infamous Alice at a family meeting. Her sharp, intelligent beauty was unmistakable, though she exuded a cold demeanor. I wasn't sure if that was just her nature or my own preconceived notions. Thomas's parents were kind and humorous, which put me at ease about getting along with them. Apart from the initial greeting, Alice remained silent, simply eating her meal while watching me, as if assessing me. After the meeting, as everyone was leaving, Alice pulled me aside. "I wondered what kind of person you would be, but you're nothing special, are you?" she remarked coolly. "Just a girl who got a job at her parents' company and is probably slacking off." Stunned, I didn't know how to respond. She continued, "I move large amounts of money and make significant profits. I'm on a completely different level than you. Thomas, settling for someone like you is disappointing. Today's lesson is realizing how much you don't measure up to my standard." With that, Alice left the room, leaving me standing there. When Thomas returned and noticed I hadn't left with Alice, he looked concerned and asked if something had happened. I brushed it off with a laugh, saying it was just a minor jab. He apologized for Alice's rudeness, but I assured him it didn't bother me, though I wondered what would happen the next time we met. Strangely, I found myself looking forward to the wedding. "That'll be interesting," I remarked to Thomas, surprising him. Our wedding was a grand affair, attended by family, friends, and colleagues from both sides. Thomas and I declared our eternal love and enjoyed a wonderful time with our guests. Throughout the event, Alice appeared grumpy and irritated from the start. I had heard from Thomas that Alice had neither friends nor a romantic partner, so I could somewhat understand her feelings, which I found slightly amusing. During a break for a wardrobe change, as I waited for the staff to assist me with my wardrobe change, Alice entered without warning. "This happiness of yours is only for today," she remarked coldly. "A plain woman like you won't get the spotlight. After this, you're just going to leech off Thomas' earnings, aren't you? I can't understand how anyone could be satisfied with that. On the other hand, I've climbed up on my own. I'm on a completely different level. I'll find someone even better than Thomas and have an even grander wedding." With that rapid-fire monologue, a self-satisfied Alice left without giving me a chance to respond. The staff walked in just as Alice departed, and I couldn't help but burst into laughter at the timing. I quickly apologized to the puzzled staff and began changing. Alice certainly knew how to keep things interesting. Despite our busy weekdays focused on work, Thomas and I cherished our weekends, making the most of our time together. Since the wedding, I had no contact with Alice. I anticipated seeing her next at Christmas when visiting my in-laws, but an unexpected connection with Alice arose sooner. My father sought external consulting for asset preservation and expansion at his company, and although I offered to handle it, he opted for outside expertise from a specific firm. When I heard the firm's name, it struck a familiar chord, but I couldn't quite place it. At the first meeting with the consulting firm, I was taken aback to see Alice among the representatives. The familiarity dawned on me. This was Alice's firm. Alice seemed equally surprised to see me but quickly composed herself and greeted me professionally. It silently became our agreement to act as if we were meeting for the first time, keeping our sister-in-law relationship a secret from the other team members. When I told Thomas about the encounter at home, he surprised me by saying Alice had already called him. "This is ridiculous. I can't work with her, she was just complaining," he said, suggesting I might want to step away from the project. I found the situation amusing and laughed it off, but I knew I had to remain professional. During the meeting, I pointed out flaws and inadequacies in their proposals, backing my arguments with perfect logic. My counterarguments unsettled them. Alice tried to fight back with past examples and mathematical evidence, but I skillfully exposed their weak points, leaving them silenced. The meeting ended in my favor, with the other team agreeing to prepare a second proposal for the next meeting. As I relaxed with coffee after they left, I received a phone call meant for me. It was Alice. "Today, you might have gotten the better of me, but I won't let it end like this," she declared. "Someone as excellent as me can't be bested by you. You're just running wild, carrying everything on your own, Mia." Amused, I replied calmly, "Alice, you need to rely on your colleagues and work together to make progress." "What gives you the right to lecture me?" she snapped. "I don't need guidance from someone like you." With that parting shot, she hung up. I burst out laughing, still holding the phone, drawing curious glances from nearby colleagues. From then on, I took full control of the meetings. Their teams scrambled to respond to my points, often finding themselves in a defensive position. Alice tried desperately for a comeback, but always fell short. Her frustration was plainly visible, though she managed to maintain her composure. Reflecting on this with Thomas later, he mentioned, "Alice has never been outdone by anyone before. Plus, Mom told me Alice found out that a guy she liked already had a girlfriend and got rejected before even confessing. That's probably adding to her irritation." I couldn't help but let out a surprise "huh" and stifle my laughter as the consulting project finally concluded successfully. The opposing team leader thanked us, expressing how much they had learned, and we all dispersed. As everyone left, Alice and I ended up alone. "I'm not satisfied with how things went. I'll make sure to get the better of you next time," Alice declared, her tone sharp. "Just so you know, I'm more excellent. I even bought a tower mansion at my age. Only someone as outstanding as me could afford a brand new tower mansion." Alice had made waves as an investor and had managed to earn enough for such a purchase. "We'll toast among the elites," looking down on the commoners below. "You, as one of those ordinary people, should just look up and despair," she added, leaving after her piece, as usual. Thomas confirmed that Alice's claims were true. She had indeed found success as an investor and recently purchased a tower mansion to live in on her own. Alice was undeniably talented, and such an achievement was well within her reach. While luck played a part, I genuinely wanted to congratulate her. A few days later, during the weekend, I had business at a tower mansion. As I stopped at a mid-level floor, a door opened, and to my surprise, the resident stepping out was Alice. We locked eyes and both exclaimed in surprise. "Why are you here? If you're not invited to the party, did you come to clean?" I blurted out. Alice chuckled. "It seems today is the day of my celebrity home party, but no, not at all. I'm here to deliver something to an acquaintance on this floor." "You have an acquaintance here? And you came down from where?" I asked, puzzled. "My home is on the top floor of this mansion. Naturally, I had to come down," Alice explained matter-of-factly. "But you and Thomas live in a single-story house, don't you?" "How can you have a home here?" I countered, bewildered. "Thomas can't handle heights. That's why our house is single-story," Alice replied calmly. "This place is my office and workshop." "Your workshop is on the top floor of a tower mansion. Don't joke like that," I said incredulously. "This whole place is mine," Alice stated firmly. "Why shouldn't I use the top floor?" As we argued loudly in the hallway, a voice behind us interrupted. "Alice, what's going on?" Alice turned and apologized. "Sorry, Senior." The woman who had spoken and 3 others looked at us with concern. "I apologize for not greeting you downstairs. I was just dealing with—" Alice seemed momentarily at a loss for words. The woman Alice called Senior looked at me, searching her memory, and then exclaimed in surprise, "Aren't you Mrs. Mia, our new external board director starting this month?" Alice was speechless at this unexpected revelation. The senior continued, "She's also known as the investment goddess whom Alice admires." Clearly bewildered, Alice struggled to comprehend what was being said. I had started day trading as a student, gradually progressing to more serious investing. Using my day trading earnings, I learned investment strategies through practice. My analytical and research skills helped me identify companies with growth potential, and I invested wisely. The funds I managed grew rapidly. My father provided me with the freedom to use a piece of land he owned in the city center, where I began building a tower mansion, following the trend of mansion investments. I wanted to understand what it was all about, so this tower mansion is the result of my efforts. Managing a mansion is more challenging than it seems. Income comes from rent, but maintenance costs and taxes are higher than expected. Furthermore, even a few delayed rent payments from tenants can disrupt smooth management. Regarding being called the investment goddess, that seems to be a recent label for me, coined due to my extraordinary success in investments. Hearing that Alice admired me was a surprise. Alice was too stunned to keep up with the unfolding situation. "That's why my room is on the top floor here," I explained. "I own a significant share of your company, which made me a board director." Alice was overwhelmed by this unexpected turn of events. Moreover, Alice, while extremely talented, has a poor reputation regarding teamwork and attitude towards colleagues. If she can improve, she can continue in her current role. Alice was already reeling from this harsh reality, kneeling and collapsing on the floor. Later, Thomas told me that Alice, once a fierce wolf, had become a small dog. It seemed she finally understood that there's always someone above her. I had never really paid much attention to Alice's antics, knowing we were on different levels. But looking back, I do feel a bit guilty for finding it all so amusing. Reflecting on my previous attitude, I realize I still have a lot to learn. Alice, having stepped back from the limelight, now faces reduced income and a string of losses in investments. Her ability to pay rent for the Tower Mansion apartment is increasingly compromised. I'm considering issuing an eviction notice if the rent arrears continue for another 2 months. People's abilities vary, and even similar skills can differ in levels. Alice has become a lesson for me to never underestimate anyone and to treat others with respect. Thomas apologized for not being more involved in these events, but it's not his responsibility at all. His concern shows his good nature, and I love him all the more for it. My current hope is to start a family with Thomas soon. I can't wait to enjoy life as a family of 3. If Alice changes her mindset and broadens her perspective, she'll surely find friends and a partner soon. One night, I had a dream of a family of 3, but by the end of next year, we'd be a family of 5 with triplets. I woke up sweating but couldn't help laughing at the prospect.